So it has been a few days since LR Gohan and Goten have been out, and I kind of want to do like a tier list update. Um, kind of, right? This is more of like a comparison of this unit compared to the other units and focus on him rather than a tier list where I talk about all the different LRs. Let me know if you guys would prefer a style like this whenever a new LR comes up, by the way. We're just going to be talking about mostly the new unit that's introduced and then kind of talking about how they fit in with the other best units in the game. In terms of like, other LRs, right? So this is an LR tier list, but this unit is actually quite powerful. But the reason why I'm not really like doing like a mega tier list kind of is we should get the part 2 LR like around here. Like in a few days actually is when the part 2 LR should be dropping. So there's going to be another update here, but back to Gohan and Goten. I think they did a really good job with this unit's EZA, and asked people for some of their opinions on like how their EZA is compared to a certain other LR, which I should probably pull the poll up for that right here real quick. I made a poll about this there's a lot that happened yesterday with like Legends buffing Goku Frieza, right? But I made a poll about this, talking about these two and how people think these two are comparative. Now, breaking down the changes that this Gohan and Goten received. First and foremost, their leader skill was increased to 4 key, full 170% stats. Goku family got full 170% stats. Actually, they always had 4 key, but just both leader skills got 170% stats, which is really good, I think. They're actually a good leader for Goku family, probably. Defense raise for the turn added to both their super attack effects, which is really nice. They now have 158% attack instead of just the 58%. They have this high chance to do an additional super attack rather than their previous medium chance here. Now, they also get an additional key per key sphere obtained. This stayed the same actually, this build up right there. And they get a huge extra part of their portion of their passive when there's a Goku on rotation, which gives them an extra additional with a high chance to become a super, then extra stats right there. And then they get more attack, which is a multiplicative attack boost when the active skill is being used or when keys 24 or more. So that's good. And everything else is the same, right? So I think that these changes are pretty sufficient for them. They're closer to a modern unit than a lot of other units are. And because of their LR stats and how their passive works with a multiplicative 100% buff, they didn't actually really need like that much to be really good. And they kind of kept their design philosophy with this unit, with them being a really strong offensive unit. Now, the issue a lot of people have with this unit is that they have no defensive tech. No dodge, no guard, no damage reduction, scouter, anything like that that'll help them avoid super attacks. And super attacks just kill this unit, right? Most of the time they can't live super attacks, right? Unless they're like fully built up doing 4 super attacks, then in certain situations they could live certain super attacks, but like pretty much every single time you use this unit, you're not really going to get them fully built up in difficult content. The teams around do too much damage. And the thing is, while you could definitely kill the enemy like with this unit and like shave off half their HP, if you're like against Sin Shenron with this unit on like the very first turn, you could likely die because they get a lot of their defense on super with like doing quad super attacks. The AoEs do some damage to this unit, and then they can get super attacked and they're instantly KO'd. Metal Cooler Core super attacks them, they're instantly KO'd, right? Broly, they're actually fighting us obviously because they're tech, but the AoE Broly phase could still do like 500 plus K damage to this unit, right? They're not like a unit that's meant to be defensive, but it's like we have so many units that, while not hitting the levels of damage this unit is, I think they're more well-rounded, right? But anyways, let's talk about some other units that I think are actually very close to be comparable to them in a sense. It's the Blue Fusions, right? Now, I will say straight up, I do think that these guys are actually going to be better. Now, what happens is, I think Gohan and Goten, over the fight, the amount of damage that they contribute probably will be more than the Blue Fusions, because these guys have to transform first in turn 4, and then on top of that, you like 24 keys free with them once you get I think some of these like attacks off, right? Because don't they build up ki? Yeah, they build up this extra 5 ki right there, and it's like, you know, these units don't actually have like a main key link besides like, I guess well, they have over and flash normal. I'm a liar, but I find at certain situations, especially if we're running them on the same rotation, you could not hit that 24 key initially. I've had that happen to me at times, right? Until they have this built up, then it's very consistent to get that. So I think you, with this unit being there and the whole time, they may actually potentially just do more overall damage, because they're like normal forms, they can't really do anything like that. But I think overall, what do I say, the tech for them is with the dodge is just so much more valuable. Being able to float them off as like a 70% dodge chance unit. They come back, they have the guaranteed dodge. Then if you use their active skill the next turn, they can get another 70% chance to dodge during that turn again, because as the third attack in the turn, where is it? Right here, they also get 7 ki. They get an extra additional super attack, and then they have a 70% chance to dodge. Both Gogeta and Vegito have the same part of their passive there, so it's really, really, really good. And then when they're transformed into blue, they actually do more damage than what this unit is able to do based on the math, right? That's what I was told. Based on the math, they actually will do more damage than this unit. So I think they're much more well-rounded, right? And that's the thing about this unit. Comparing them like together as Dokkan Fest LREZAs, because before this guy, these were the last Dokkan Fest LREZAs, right? And that's, I feel like, the biggest comparison to be made. Not necessarily in strength, like equal strength, but like equal status, rarity, right? Now about units that I think that they're closer with, right? So let's say if this was like a tier list, right? These two would be above. I think this unit is like kind of like, it's hard. I would say a tier-ish, like under a tier under, like closer to them, but I don't know. It's hard, right? I think it's actually around these units, right? Which is kind of funny because these are all like defense-orientated units, right? But my idea with this right here, so this is like kind of like the mock tier list I kind of brought up here. This is basically where I would have these units placed in like a normal tier list, like with, you know, S, A, B. I think this just like generally is what I'm liking, right? I mean, right here you put like cooler and stuff like that, right? In the same B tier. But I like this A tier like more as overall like units, like in terms of, because the thing about all of these units up here is that they have a pretty good blend of offense and defense. This unit, a little less so. I think they're a little more offensively based, but I think the Spirit Bomb that they have and the guard that they can get with their standby, you could, realistically, in a lot of situations, still get down the 4th turn, right? It's just that early on, you could definitely get one shot by super attacks like this unit. But unlike this unit, right, this unit does have that ability to go to standby mode, which is the most powerful defensive, like, unit in the game, right? That Vegeta is insane. While units like these right here, I think they're like, you're much defensively, like, orientated. You're very defensively orientated. This guy is like, he's very defensively orientated as well. Like, just as a unit, like defense wise, in terms of like all the healing he's providing, the counter, right, he's like a top 3 defensive unit in the game probably, right? Just overall, I feel like maybe you can even argue that, right? This guy Goku's so insane, right? But I think like in a separate fashion where these guys are all really strong defensive oriented units that aren't really doing like that kind of damage output like most of the time, like in certain situations, right? And like in their active skill turn, this unit could actually do some pretty solid damage. This unit, if they get his 9 hits in, he's like supported. I've seen him do like 20 million attack stats even. Or it can get really, really good for him. Yeah, was it like 20 million, 11 million, whatever. I mean, that's a pretty big difference, right? But I've seen him hit really high numbers. This unit is super offensive orientated, but he doesn't have the defensive tech like these guys. Now, I have him over Carnival Goku, because I think the overall damage this unit provides is a little better than Carnival Goku's defensive orientated, like what he provides to the team as a defensive unit. I think the value is a little higher. And also considering that we have this unit as a revive unit, kind of does still bring this guy's value down just a little bit. I think it's not as big as people make it out to be, but it's definitely a thing when you have this unit, right? Right, this is the unit you would want to revive with, right, with the counter. This is difficult right here if I was going to compare these two, because it's like they're, like I said, they're like very different, but I think they're like actually next to each other in terms of the overall value that they provide, which is why I asked this question right here on Twitter on who people think is better. Now, I think pretty obviously Vegeta and Trunks would win, right? I think that there's multiple factors to that. One, many people in the community prefer a defensive playstyle to an offensive playstyle, which is fine, right? Whatever floats your boat. And another thing, a lot of people on Global have been able to use this unit. Well, this is a brand new JP EZA, which is also kind of funny because it's a Global first, right? But people are probably just gonna be bound to picking this guy, not even because like they're better than him, but because they just haven't used this unit and don't really have experience of actually seeing them in game, using them outside. Well, they can get a good estimate of how good this unit is with videos and calculations and stuff. It really is a different feeling when you're able to use them actually against these bosses and see how they do in these certain different phases, how well their build-up is supposed to be, what kind of damage they could actually do, like seeing that health bar flow down. Your RNG with the unit really can depend your own opinion on it, right? Like someone could be the unluckiest player ever, get like no additional super attacks with this unit, and they're like, yeah, Vegeta and Trunks is way better, right? They're more consistent tanking, right? They have the potential active skill which also supports, right? They're just a stronger option, right? A lot of people could think they're a more consistent option, but then some people, like, I don't know, like me, I guess, whatever. I got pretty lucky with their super attacks, right? But like, you can get like a bunch of super attacks off with this unit, and they're just melting every single phase, and they just single-handedly carry you in some of these runs. And you're like, yeah, this unit's way better. They're just one-shotting these bosses, right? And it's like, they're both have equal value in what they're doing. I think this unit in terms of the offense that they provide, and then this unit in terms of the defense they provide. Their defense is actually still really, really good considering how old they are as a unit. Whilst their offense is probably like, I'm a defensive based player. I'm sure many of you know that I prefer defense over offense. But if you do this, I actually don't think I would be like, oh, that's crazy, right? No. I think Kaigoku's defensive utility that he could provide is better than the offensive utility this unit provides for sure. But I think he's closer to like what Vegeta and Trunks can do. I think people don't understand how much damage this unit can actually do. It can get pretty ridiculous the amount of damage they could do. But I think they're really hard focused on damage, which is why it's like I'm not gonna have them like next to the blue fusions or above them, right? I just don't think that overall what the kit can provide compares to that. But that's just my general consensus of why I have this guy like comparative to these units, even though they're like really, really strong defensive utility units. Another thing, this guy's really helped on the Power of Wishes team, by the way. On the ending point, let's talk about how stupid like the Z-Duel team is. This unit's leader skill, and even this unit's leader skill, like all of these guys fit their leader skill, right? The only units that don't actually fit their leader skill are these two guys. Like the Year 8 team has gotten really powerful, which is really nice to see. But yeah, again, a lot of people like defense and think defense is more valuable, which I do agree with. So I would actually pick Vegeta and Trunks in this scenario, but I don't think it's like, oh yeah, it's easily Vegeta and Trunks are better than them. It really does depend on your luck and the situations that you could be in. But let me know what y'all think about how good Gohan and Goten were. Do you think that they should have been better? I honestly think it's fine for an easy to crack like a top 10 like LR list like this. I still think is pretty impressive because again, this unit is a 2019 unit. They did not have to make them this good. They just had to make them good enough. And honestly, I think that like in terms of how I temper my expectations with EZAs, I think they did quite good with this unit and kept like their original like intention with this unit of being like a really strong offensive unit very, very well. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all, and of course I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.